when you start crafting, it can be really daunting. Twinches, ATCs, ATC coins, all these things that you don't know what they are. Well, ATCs are very big in the crafting community. What does it stand for? It stands for Artist Trading Card. What are they? I'm going to take you down. I'm going to show you some examples. It's Ashley here and welcome to my channel. So, Artists Trading Cards. They are a means of sharing information with other crafters and artists, and as the name suggests, trading. They're traded, they're swapped, and basically they're 2.5 inches across by 3.5 inches down. Most artists trading cards are in portrait orientation, but there's absolutely no rules to say that they can't be in landscape, so you do you. The idea is that you create a work of art in your style, and you can do whatever you want, use whatever you want. Now, my style is predominantly, I like to have a black piece of base card, and I'll just show you a small selection of some that I've made recently. Okay, so this first one, what I've done is I've cut a piece of white card shorter than the base card, and I've done one of my inky backgrounds. This is probably a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder. Can you see the sparkle there? And a little bit of Distress ink, I would imagine. And I've stamped a tree behind, then I've stuck down some vellum to soften everything. I think there's a little bit of green hill there, yeah. And then I've just used a little bit of Tim Holtz ephemera, a Tim Holtz word clipping, drawn on a little flock of birds, all 2 of them, can that be called a flock? And some mixed media here, some, I think they're artists' stones, and I've coloured them. I've put them in a little box and sprayed them with some spray to colour them, and then just glued them on. You don't really want your artist's trading card to have too much dimension, because a lot of people like to store them, and might come back onto that in another video, but yeah, you don't want lots of bulk and dimension to them. I have put some little jemmies on there, but really, you know, you do you. This is just an example of one of the things that I've done. And then on the back, crafters will often, if you're entering a challenge, they will often ask for an ATC, and they will often say, can you please include certain details? So, you know, I've got my name on here, my address, my birthday, things that I like. Some people put their dislikes. I don't really dislike anything. My style is eclectic. I've put colours here, blues, greys, greens, gold. Paper&Twine is my YouTube channel, just in case you didn't know. And one of my email addresses. So that is one that I have made recently. This hasn't got any details on the back. This is an inky background that I've just recently done using some products from Funky Fossil. I did a little haul. I think it was Thursday I showed what I'd bought, and I've used this in various projects, and this is what I've got left over, and I've just done a very simple one. Haven't really added anything to that background. It got this on it. It's got care free, create authentic, a little bit of Tim Holtz ephemera. I do like my Tim Holtz ephemera. If you're new to my channel and you don't know me, a little bit of stenciling in the background, some spray that I happen to mop with some kitchen paper, and it's gone splattery, which I quite like. And this is a collage tile that I've just fussy cut round. So it's like, it's her kind of like, almost like her school report, it could be almost, or she's the teacher, this is her register or something, class C number 12. So that's that. Then this one, let me just put these over here so they're all in the same place. This one I've just used, you don't even have to be very artistic to create an artist's trading card. This is part of my design team package for Cheryl Simone Crafts design team for the month of September and October, and she sent me this lovely paper pad, which is peach tea from Prima Marketing, and I've just chosen some paper. I fussy cut a little bit of the branding strip. I've just collaged that on top of one of the papers that I liked. It's got a little bit of ruler. It's quite kind of mixed media-y. And on the back of this one, I've used a stamp from Funky Fossil artist trading card. A lot of people have these, or they print them off the internet themselves, or they make their own and print them. So I've just stamped that, and I've just put created by Paper&Twine, September the 8th. Everything's peachy, because she looks a little bit smug, doesn't she? And then very much in my style, this is one that I'm going to send to somebody for a challenge. I don't know what it was. I'm really liking the vellum to kind of soften everything. So this was a Tim Holtz photo booth photo. You see it's got the glossiness on it, which the collage tiles don't have. This is on a scrap of background that's got a bit of stamping on it. Looks like a bit of pumice stone, and yeah, and some ephemera and a word clipping, Mrs. Eurace Pettigrew, and I've just layered up little things. So I've added layers, collaged, but it's not particularly dimensional. So I thought we'd have a go at making one together. It is going to be in my style, but you do you. I've got a piece of card 2.5 by 3.5 ready to go as my base, and then I've got a piece of white heavyweight cardstock that I've cut to just slightly smaller. My trimmer's got 1/16 of an inch markings on it, so I've gone 1/16 of an inch shorter than 2.5 by 3.5, and it just gives that little black border, which is one of my little signatures, if you like. So we'll pop that there. And I thought, I've done a load of stuff with distressing recently, but I haven't used any pixie powders for a long time, and I love my pixie powders. So I'm going to make kind of like a little scene. We're going to try, and I'm just sprinkling a little bit of teal wash pixie powder on an acrylic block. I'm just going to spray it with water, but I'm going to do it away from my camera. And I've just sprayed the acrylic block. Now you could use a silicone mat to do this and dip your card in, but one of the benefits of using an acrylic block is that you can see where you're placing your splodges, and you're kind of just kissing very lightly, like so. So that's kind of like sky. I'm just going to bring in a bit of scraggy kitchen paper, and I'm going to blot that because I don't want the colour to be quite as intense as it was, and I don't mind if it smudges. There we go. So I've got some little splodges of Cosmic Shimmer on the top there. I've just got some I was experimenting with colours, so I'm just going to not waste that bit of blue on there, and we're going to put it on here for another project. It's always a good idea. I mean, one of the things that you could do is work on a bigger piece of card and cut it down, but I want to be quite precise about my colours, which is why I'm using a small piece. Okay, so that's ordinary Cosmic Shimmer Pixie Powder, as I say, in teal wash. These are such good value. I don't know what they cost now. I think this was about £3 when I bought it, and you can see, and I used to use it all the time, and you can see I've still got absolutely, well, you might if I was in shot, absolutely loads left in there. Then I'm going to use, I've got some Pixie Sparkles here, which are also by Cosmic Shimmer, but they're slightly different. And I'm going to come in, first of all, with the Zesty Lime. And some of these, you get different colours within them. I experimented with the olive green, and there was a bit of blue in it, which I didn't like. But this Zesty Lime is nice. I'm just sprayed, and I've got some lovely speckles on there. So I'm just going to, actually, I want that way around, I think. And again, you see, I'm looking at placement. I can see a little bit of blue coming out in this. I'm just lightly kissing so that I get those lovely little speckles, which again is one of the things that I really like. I'm just going to put a bit more water on this and just splodge this on here, just so that we're not wasting that pigment. But I mean, literally, it's pennies, and I think these Pixie Sparkle powders aren't very expensive. And then I'm coming in with emerald green, just tapping some on my block, and hopefully this will be a little bit darker. Just spraying off with some water, and you can see the difference in colour there. I'm just going to come down the bottom here. There's a little bit of blue in here, which is quite nice. Just lightly kissing so that I get those speckles. The more you press down, I'll do it on here, get you in shot. The more you press down, the pressure that you apply will spread the pigment more. Can you see how it's kind of getting quite watery under there now? And I lift it off and I've got more of a water colour effect, if you like. So just pop lids on those so that we don't get powder everywhere. I've got it all over my hands, which is quite nice and sparkly. And I'm loving these speckles here. Absolutely loving those. And the depth of colour, the range of colour in that. So I'm just going to pause you while I dry this. Okay, so that is dry now, and I'm just going to add a little bit of stenciling, and I do like to, on my background, just add a little bit of texture. Now, you don't want to go mad, it's just a little suggestion, and I'm using circles because they're quite organic and they're picking up on this idea that I've got going on here. I've got a stencil brush here. I'm not even going to add any more ink, but I'm going to do just kind of like a little bit of pale blue here. And you see you've just got a little bit of suggestion there. I'm going to come in down here, and again, I'm not even going to add any ink to my brush here. I'm going to come in and just add a little bit more texture down the bottom. So I quite like that. What I am going to do, I think, I've got a blending brush here, and it's got some Uncharted Mariner on it. I'm just going to go round very lightly with what's on here already. So I'm not actually adding any ink at all. Okay, so that is my background done. Let me just move these things out of the way. So again, that was the soda stream from Funky Fossil. Now I want to add a little bit of stamped texture. I'm keeping everything kind of circles. This is called Dotty, is it? Yeah, Dotty. And I'm not even going to put it on an acrylic block. I'm going to take off the backing sheet but leave it on this, and I'm going to find a little bit of twisted citron and tumbled glass, I think, to pick up on those light colours. So there's my twisted citron. Come on, tumbled glass, where are you? You're going to be the last thing for me to find, aren't you? Come on, own up, own up. Oh dear me. I haven't got them labelled, and I do need to get them labelled. Oh, blimey, it's going to be the last one I find. I'll tell you what, I'll pause it again. Sorry, I'll pause you and come back. I should have had everything ready, shouldn't I? I've found them. So I'm just going to dip a portion of this in my ink. I'm going to stamp off because I don't want it to be too in your face. Just little bits, just to add a little bit of interest. And you can hardly see it, but it melds really nicely with that, what you call it. Actually, I'm going to stamp this on here with the Zesty Lime Pixie Powder. It's just, and I have to say, I think I mentioned it in my last video, these products from Funky Fossil are extremely good quality and very good value. So let's come in with a little bit of tumbled glass now. It looks like I had speckled egg on that blending brush. Stamp off a little bit just to check the colour, and we'll just stamp. That's quite nice. So I've just got a little bit of organic circle stuff going on there. I'll just move those out of the way. Now, this needs some kind of focal image, really. I don't need you, so I'll move you as well. Trying to keep tidy as I go along. Oh, actually, one thing I was going to add. I like this little ring from, this is Julie Hickey designer series, and this is designed by Hazel Eaton. And I'm just going to add, and we might use a darker colour actually, just to, see we've got this little blue bit here, and I'm thinking a little bit of salty ocean might work well there, or peacock feathers. Just bear with a minute. I am definitely going to label my, there we go, I'm definitely going to label my inks. And I don't know about you, I haven't got the full collection of distress ink or oxides, but I've definitely got more oxides now than distress inks, and I think I'm going to retire my distress inks into another storage and put all of my oxides that I have got on display. Let me know what you think I should do. Oh yes, I quite like that, but be careful not to overdo it. Less is more, as they say. We'll just have one in the middle, kind of overlapping each other like that. Maybe just one down here. You see, I'm saying less is more, and then I don't know when to stop. But you see, I've stamped off a little bit there. And look at all of your stamp collections, you know, mix and match from different designers, different manufacturers, just to expand your stash. Okay, that is that. And by the way, that's from Hazel Eaton's first release. She's got, is it 2 or 3 now? I've lost track, maybe 3. This is more for the girls stamp set. Okay, that is that. You can go out of the way. So as I say, we're looking for some kind of focal image now. And I thought, I am a Tim Holtz girl at heart. Hazel Eaton, whom I've just remembered, was lucky enough to meet the man. I would love to meet him. Yes, so I've got this Field Notes stamp set. I think it's called Field Notes. And there are lots and lots of different stamps in here. And I could either stamp straight onto here, or I could stamp onto some little scraps and collage it on, and I think that's what I might do. I do like this little bird here, so I think I'm going to stamp him. Shall we do it on a bit of this that we've just done here? See, this is quite nice, and it would blend in, and just if I kind of ink the edges, tear the edges, that'd be quite nice. One thing I will just mention, if you're stamping over pixie powders and sparkle powders, if you've got a clump like this, you might just find it a little bit hard. And let's just find a decent sized block. That's what we want here. And I'm going to use just VersaFine Black Onyx, because my background that I'm going to glue this onto is black. Okay, and I think I want, I'm going to go, although I like these circles, I think they might detract. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stamp about there. And if you're not confident with stamping, by all means use a stamp platform. I do love this Field Notes set. It kind of mimics a lot of the ephemera that you can buy, the printed ephemera, but of course the beauty of stamping, you saw that I held it down there for quite a while. The beauty of stamping is that you can change the colour, can't you? And I'm going to just tear this to give kind of like a rustic edge. tear around here. There we go. One thing that you can do to make tearing easier is if you use a water brush to kind of draw around what you want to tear, it will kind of just help a little bit. Now, I'm going to just come back with my green brush here and just go around the edges of that a little bit. Just tear that little bit more off that actually. Ink that up around the edges, and if you wanted to you could mount it up, but remember I said ideally, I'm going to sit him down there. I think I'm going to glue him all the way down. Sometimes I put layers, and as you saw with the Mrs. Urace Pettigrew, I stuck that underneath there, and I've just, you know, I haven't glued the whole thing down. It just adds interest. Yeah, but I'm going to glue all of this down. I'm going to put it down there. You see, I like these green splodges, so I'm not covering those up. I'm going to put that like that. Let's have a look and see if there's something else that we might want to add here. One thing that I do like to do is have a little kind of interactive little bit on the ATC. So what I might do is stamp this. Yes, I'm going to stamp this and I'm going to fussy cut it. And because this video is getting very long, I'm going to do that off camera. It's actually the next day now. I ran out of time filming yesterday. I had to be somewhere. In fact, it was paper crafting. But yeah, I stamped this butterfly and cut it out, and it looks like a bit of dog's dinner. Yeah, and then I tried to pierce a hole through it. And I just thought, you know what? I stamped on the back. It looks awful on the back, so it's going in the bin. So what I have done instead today, I've die cut a couple of circles. You could use a punch if you haven't got circle die, but I think most of us have got nesting circle dies, haven't we? And I've just used some of the paper that I'd got left over, or card that I'd got left over. And what I've done, on the one side, I've stamped one of the stamps from the Tim Holtz field notes that I showed you. Stamped this little circle on here, received. Just in second generation salty ocean, if anybody's interested. I just want a faint little thing there. Then I put a little bit of tape on the back of this one, cut some of this it's antique French linen thread, and laid it on the tape, put glue round, and then put this on top. And then I've left a little bit hanging down, tied a couple of knots and threaded a little bead, and then I've got a little bead here which is not staying where it should, so I'm going to just tie another knot here and just try and catch it. Okay, so that's what I've got so far. And then because I want it to look interesting, I've just got some little bits of snippets ephemera. I'm going to stick this butterfly on here. That's much better than the one that I cut out, isn't it? But if you're good at cutting out, you do you. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue. I am better at fussy cutting than I used to be. If any of you have been with me a while, I used to dread fussy cutting. There we go. I'm just going to pop that there like so. I could have distressed the edges of this by, you know, going round with a bit of gathered twigs or something. And then I've got this little toadstool mushroomy cluster which I'm going to put on the back. And if you haven't got any ephemera like this, you could stamp little images or cut things out of paper, or if you've got little die cuts, little, you know, shaped die cuts. So I've just put that to one side on that side so you can see some of the sparkle from the pixie sparkles that we used and some of the stamped text. It's just a little bit of a suggestion. Then I'm going to come in with a pokey tool and I'm going to poke a hole towards the top left hand corner. Ow, try not to poke your finger though. Some rude words nearly came out of my mouth then. Oh, I'm just poking that all the way through. And then I'm going to thread this through the hole like so. And I want the butterfly on the front, and I'm just going to experiment with the length. So I think I want that kind of dangling about there like so. So what I'm going to do then, cut some of this excess off like that. I'm going to just tape it down so it doesn't go anywhere. That will do for now. And just tape it like that. Press down. You could use your bone folder. And there we go. And then I'm going to remove this. Just put my rubbish in my little, I've got a little box that I made that didn't go quite according to plan, and I just use it as a little rubbish pot for things that aren't recyclable, like little bits of red liner tape and bits and pieces. Saves me throwing it on the floor. Then I'm going to come in with some glue around the edge. Bit of glue on the tape just so that it moves around. And then we're just going to centre this on our ATC base as best we can. We've got a very, very narrow border. Move that over that way a little bit. I'm just moving it before I press it down, making sure I'm happy with the placement. Let's move these little bits out of the way. I was going to show you my little tub of beads. I've had these beads for a very long time and I can't remember where I bought them from. But I've still got probably 3/4 of a tub left, and there's a mix of colours in there, and I use the coppery ones like I've done today, and the blue. Well, I use all of the colours, to be honest with you. I just add a little bit of something, and that sits in my little drawer in my desk next to me. And then I think I just want a little something here. I've got some Tim Holtz stuff, as you might as you might expect. These I think are a little bit too big. So come to my trusty clippings. I love this book, I really do. I've got several of these. And we just want something that kind of fits with the theme of the butterfly and nature and the bird. But you see how that just swings. I just like little interactive things like that. And it's not adding too much dimension. Let's have a little look. Maybe the bird is thinking of earlier days, but that might be just a little bit too big. Dreams come true. What would you go for? Far from home. Adorns a sky of blue. The butterfly adorns a sky of blue. Let's have that because we've got a blue sky. I don't want to cover these little tiny blue dots up, and I've got quite a lot of the big blue dots. So I'm just going to stick that there like so. And there we have our finished ATC. This is my style. This is the kind of thing that I do. But with the examples that I've shown you, again, they are all my style. Just kind of replicate in your style. So if you've got pretty papers, cut up pretty papers and collage. If you've got vellum, think about layering it over backgrounds that you've done. Use a little bit of mixed media. And again, we've got like a mixed media background and some Tim Holtz ephemera. This one is my favourite at the moment. And just to recap, on the back, you can print your details on the word processor and cut them out. Or was this the one that's got the, I think this is the one that's got the, yeah, the stamped back. So I hope you found that useful. You might be interested, if you want to have a go at doing ATCs and you've never made one before. I will link down below. woollysteph hosts a ATC swap once a month. I think she pulls on the 15th of the month. So 15th of September, she'll be pulling the next swap partners, and your ATC will need to be with your partner by the 1st of November. There's a 6-week turnaround. So that those international participants can get their ATCs sorted, or if you have to post overseas. But I'll link woollysteph down below, and if you want to join in, if you want to receive ATCs in other people's styles, doing a swap such as woollysteph ATC swap is a nice thing to do. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you found this useful. Please comment down below, and if you've liked this content, do consider subscribing. Take care, everybody. Bye now.